what's up, y'all? We're here, and I'm stoked to have my friend, Mr. Dan Reagan, here. So welcome and say hello. What's up, man?
Hello, Louie. How are you, man?
Good, man. Thanks for being here.
Here in ElectricLOuieLand, man.
You're here. You're at its source.
I'm very honored to be in these, what do they call, the confines of ElectricLOuieLand.
We're here. Thanks for coming, man. I'm glad we could do this.
Yeah, glad to be here.
So we were just sitting here chatting a bunch, and I started thinking, I was like, oh wait, we got to stop talking, because we started already just getting into stuff. But I was just telling you, I just wanted to kind of document all the times. I feel like when we hang out, you always tell me a new story. You're like Bob. Bob Boss is the same way. Every time I'm hanging out with him, I swear he tells me a new story, and I'm just like, man, how do you remember all that stuff? But you're kind of the same way, where you just have had a whole career of stuff, and I feel like you relate to like someone like me that is trying to play music and do things, and then at school when we were hanging out a bunch.
Yeah,
that's
we've known each other for a while now.
For a while now, yeah, you're
12
right.
12 years.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Or more.
Because I feel 13. Like that's how I met you, right? It was at school when you were getting
2009.
Yeah, okay.
Down in the basement of the practice rooms.
Yeah, that's the spot. I mean, where else are you gonna be?
Yeah, I did a master's, and Louis was doing his undergrad in San Diego State from a master's program, 2-year program, from 2009 to 11.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed that time.
Yeah, I remember when you were there, and you're going in and out constantly. You're like, oh man, I'll be back. I gotta make it for rehearsal. You're like, I'm coming straight from the airport. I'm like, where have you been? Oh, it's in Colombia. I'm trying to make it. I think I can make it.
That's my life, man. Juggling things like that I would take on from time to time, and then eventually my family, when that's in my 40s.
Right, of course. Yeah.
So I can relate to you as a young man, kind of like trying to find your way as far as what kind of familial, direction you want to go into.
Right. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
I was going through that.
So wait, how did you?
I know I was never pressured to have kids from my parents.
Oh, okay.
They never wanted to pressure me for grandkids.
Mm-hmm. Really? I feel like that's so counterintuitive from what most people. Like that's not.
Well, it isn't real. It's kind of playful.
Right.
For the most part.
I feel like the norm though is always like, the parents always like, harassing the younger or their kid. I'll just wait. Where are my grandbabies? Which is like, I always thought was strange.
Yeah.
But I guess it makes sense. I don't know. But yeah, man. I mean, so.
Yeah. So I look back on my life and my career. I think the word that comes to my head into my mind is like serendipity. Being at the right place at the right time for whatever reason.
Yeah, you've always said that, actually.
It's really true.
You've always said that, actually. Every time you're like, man, I don't know. I swear I just was in the right place at the right time. I got lucky. I don't know. I just... You know what I mean?
But everybody's, the different people say different things, but a lot of people say you make your own luck, And by taking some risks, like moving somewhere else or trying to take this gig that you really aren't qualified to do, but you learn real fast how to sort of
just get through it and make it happen.
Like, what is the word? Assimilate.
Yeah.
Assimilate.
Okay. Yeah, for sure.
Into the style, because it's all the same, based on the same, beats and rhythms and pitches and, the different harmonies and different kind of music. But,
yeah,
a lot of it. Hey, music is a universal language, man. We know how beautiful that is.
Yeah.
But serendipity, it's like, I remember when I didn't know what I wanted to do musically, but after into high school, all my friends were musicians.
Really?
And different people were getting gigs and getting in bands or were working, and I would just tag along.
And where is this at?
This is in San Diego.
Oh, okay.
I grew up in San Diego.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I was born in the Midwest, and my parents came west, and like when I was like less than 2 years old.
Oh, okay.
And we were in the Bay Area, like in San Pablo and Concord.
Okay.
And I went to kindergarten in Concord, then I went to elementary school in Stockton,
Okay.
and then came to San Diego when in 7th grade.
Nice.
Oops.
Oh, you're right.
My first day of school, I don't know, some of you baby boomers, my first day of school was in San Diego at Lewis Junior High because Pershing hadn't been built yet. This is out in San Carlos.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had to go to Pershing to Lewis to when at that point I was a 7th grader, and the 7th graders from San Carlos area got bused to Lewis, which is in Allied Gardens.
Oh, okay.
So I had to ride the bus to Allied Gardens every day.
Okay.
So that went on until I was halfway through, and then I was the first class to go to Pershing Junior High, and I would have been the first class to go to Patrick Henry High School, too, but they decided to keep us at Crawford. We had to go to Crawford High School in San Carlos. So I learned, and that's another serendipitous thing, when you have to, like I moved when I was a kid, and
It's not even up to you, yeah.
I had to go to a bus. I had to take a bus or carpool to school because Crawford was 10 miles away.
Right.
So all these adverse conditions for people that made me, strong.
I see what you're saying.
Kind of like not intimidated by adventure.
You're already savvy to that kind of stuff, even if it's just jumping on like a bus and going from here. But as a little kid, or just I just see what you're saying. That makes sense.
But out of high school, I got into San Diego State, but I wasn't ready to be a student, and I kind of dropped out after like the first semester, and that's when I decided to be a musician. And my first gig I played in like when I was 18, almost 19, was with Nathan East and Carl Evans and Hollis Gentry.
Oh wow!
And Skipper Ragsdale.
I don't know. Okay.
He was their drummer.
Cool.
He was a drummer. He became an undertaker. Actually, his family's undertaking. Like he had a huge mortuary in
wild.
In like San Diego or Encanto or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so that was my first gig, and this guitar player named Gilbert Ardea.
Mm-hmm.
You know him?
No.
That's funny because he had a jam session kind of gig, with a pretty good group. It's called City Lights, I think.
Uh-huh.
And way back. This is 1970.
Okay.
And he heard me play. We played "Make Me Smile," like Chicago song.
Uh-huh.
And he was really impressed with me.
And this is you're playing trombone from.
I was playing a prom, an after prom with Soul Unlimited, which had all those guys in it. My first gig.
And this is trombone. You play trombone from the get-go?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Cool.
Yeah. I went up, came up in school.
Nice.
So I just wanted to be.
So you're at a little prom?
So anyway, we were at a prom, and Gilbert Ardea, he started a band that was, he lived in, like, in Canto, and, going to his house. I didn't know any people, came out, and he picked me up. I mean, he met me in Massachusetts Avenue.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to this rehearsal, and we started a band, and that band worked around town during like 1970 and 71. We did like the Navy and Marine Corps, MCRD, like the Enlisted Men's Club and the whatever the clubs were called, I forgot. But we get little gigs in the colleges and stuff.
What was the band called? Do you remember?
Elijah.
You have good memory, man.
Yeah.
Like you're good with dates and like places and times and maybe seasons.
Because I moved around so much, I sort of imprinted on my mind where I was at a certain point.
You have good like location like markers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah. Because for some reason I just store the knowledge really well, and then when I get reminded of it, it comes to me.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that was serendipitous. And then that sort of propelled me to like really make some serious decisions about, committing time. I was working a day job, so I quit that and I moved to Berkeley in 73.
Like San Francisco, Berkeley?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, San Francisco, Berkeley. And it was serendipitous. The first weekend I was there, all these musicians that I was going to work with
Uh-huh.
for the next like 7 or 8 years, a very formative time in my life.
Right.
You know, was they were all there at this block party on
Oh.
the same block I moved in on.
Oh, wow.
On the first, like Labor Day weekend.
Okay.
And so it was like there was belly dance. I mean, all these people just about in this whole gathering became my circle of people. I was like
Right.
my friends.
Yeah, yeah.
It was and it was just complete with all different color. I mean, different ages
Yeah.
and different races and cultures. Not so different. I mean, American, African American, and kind of hippies and
Okay.
just people that like.
Just people of all sorts. Like,
Right.
Yeah, as you're saying.
Yeah.
Like, it's somewhat of
They used
like
to
a
call it
melting pot.
alternative lifestyles.
Oh.
But anyway, so and that that became this band called Salsa de Berkeley, and I'm proud to say that we were on this. You can look this up on YouTube. It's
Okay.
Salsa de Berkeley live at the record plant.
I'll include it in the link when we post it, so that way
you'll
we
get
can
it.
pull it up. All right.
And it's an audio tape of this radio broadcast.
Okay.
I have a picture of me in the studio at the record plant.
Oh, you should send me the picture.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
I mean, it's just I'll take a picture of it.
yeah, of course. Yeah.
But anyway, so, and we did this radio broadcast, and it was a really unique band. It had steel drums, and we started playing on the
nice.
street. It was instead of Andy Norell, that steel pan player.
No.
Andy Norell's a great, well-known,
Okay.
world-renowned actually steel pan player, and his brother Jeff.
Mm-hmm.
They're from New York, Queens, and they started playing. When they were. Jeff was like 12, and and this is like, gosh, like 1960. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because that would put Jeff's a little bit older than me, and he started when he was age 12. So maybe not. Anyway, somewhere around the 60s, he and his brother were in a band called the Steel Bandits, and somehow they performed on the Ed Sullivan Show, man.
Oh, whoa.
Like in
Somehow? Is that an
1960.
accident?
Not. I mean, somehow they got this band together, and then next thing I knew, they were on Ed Sullivan Show. And so Jeff was he's a good friend from that same block I'm talking about.
Okay. Wow.
And he's a steel pan player.
So yeah,
and
you're
his
right.
bass player David Morgan, who played with Santana.
Wow.
Johnny Otis, whose dad is Johnny Otis,
Right.
and he's Shuggy Otis and
Okay.
Nick Otis's brother.
Wow.
He was in the band, and just like a great lineup of young musicians that came together at that
Right.
time, and so that was serendipitous
Right.
as you can get,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
and then I decided my one friend that was in the same circle, he played with Salsa de Berkeley, and I was in all kinds of bands at that time. I worked with Ritmo 74 and Benny Velarde, and his Super Combo, and Pete Escovedo and Escovedos, and
how did you
I worked with Malo.
how did you find, like, how were you into, like, Afro-Cuban music, and, like, how did you find that stuff? Had you always been...
I found it when I moved to Berkeley.
Okay.
That John Otis.
So that's part of the story. That's kind of part of, like, you finding it.
Yeah. And we played. We were all very serious young cats, man. So we really learned the stuff properly.
Right. Okay.
When I was playing, I had the right sound.
Mm-hmm.
Our arrangements. We only, we had 2 horns, so we had to modify the arrangements for like 4 or 5 horns.
Well, because that's the thing is you like.
But if you hear this thing we did,
right? Okay.
That was a culmination of that piece of.
Right.
I mean that episode and music, for me and for those guys, and it's just amazing. I couldn't believe it. I mean, that's another thing. I don't know about how other musicians are. I've heard different things about how people are satisfied or dissatisfied with what they're doing in a live performance or a recording session or whatever, and like some people are just free and easy, and somebody like Wes Montgomery or Bill Evans were like real self-critical and really never satisfied with their immediate.
I see what you're saying.
And usually the case is, like, I saw this myself, where like Michael Brecker or Bill Evans or anybody, they would play this amazing solo, and then they'd hear it back, and the producer's like flipping out, and he goes, nah, No, I got to do another one. I don't like that one.
Uh-huh.
So he'd do another one twice as amazing.
Right.
But I saw that happen, and that's a high level to witness, man.
I mean, you see it happen right in front of you. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's like magic.
Yeah, it is like a sort of magic. I mean,
Yeah, and also it's so beautiful to be able to see things on video. There's so much stuff available of old,
Yeah,
pretty good productions.
It's wild. Like when you go on YouTube and you start finding videos, it's crazy. Like I always wonder, I'm like, who's videotaping it, and who's got the mic? Like who pressed record on? Like I don't know who made these recordings.
There's probably a few like really important people that are just unsung heroes. There was a guy that videotaped everything that happened at Club Broadway and 96 and Broadway is like upstairs, really big club.
Okay.
And old school club, and he was there every performance, and he filmed it all.
It was just ElectricLOuieLand back then.
Yeah, exactly. He did, and he's a character of a dude, man.
But way more guerrilla. Like that's killing it.
And he has these characters in New York, man. This one guy that was like the doorman, and he was always there. His name was Tuffy. And he was like this big Puerto Rican dude that wouldn't smile for anything, and he's just a total. But
he's a toughie.
You could get on his good side, and everybody knows when I say Tuffy, who that is, because he was a really memorable character.
Yeah, I see.
There's a lot of guys like band boys. Every band had a guy that worked for the band that set it all up. They're called the band boy.
Okay.
And some of the band boys that did work for some of the better artists, they were some crazy dudes, man. They were really funny, man. And things that were too vulgar to talk about.
Okay.
They were so funny.
Yeah.
That these guys would just be themselves, and you just be dying. How is this happening? How is this drama unfolding, with this kind of vibe,
Right.
It was a trip. But anyway, so that was serendipitous, Oh, no, I'm talking about Roger, one of my bandmates. He moved to New York with us. We fired him out of Salsa de Berkeley, which
Hilarious.
was one of those really terrible times, man, where human beings can fuck up. Because he became more successful than all of us, man. He moved to New York. Oh shit. Anyway, he moved to New York, and he was like, he's just a real. Roger, you'd love this guy. He's a year older than me, and we've been friends since 73 or 4.
Oh, nice, cool.
So almost 50 years now, and he's the reason I moved to New York. Anyway, he moved to New York in 77 after Salsa de Berkeley. That went for a while, and I actually went back to San Diego for a few months.
Okay.
When I moved up north with my girlfriend.
Okay.
And she didn't like Berkeley, and actually a really a big traumatic thing happened when we were first here that I shouldn't really talk about, but that happened, and so she didn't really like Berkeley.
Okay.
So we kind of split up, and so.
Okay.
But at the end, I'd been with her for 4 years. So I came back for a while, and I actually enrolled at San Diego State in like fall of 75, and then I took this job, while I was intending to stay, so I was working on it, delivering furniture, and anyway, so I stayed with my girlfriend, and I decided to go back when Salsa de Berkeley kind of disbanded what we had, and instead of a steel drum section, we added a piano and a guitar.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was like 7-piece band, and we worked around. We were, I learned from, people that used to come in to see us, like Armando Peraza and Orestes Filato, and who else was there? Oh, you mean John Santos and Jesus. No, Jesus Diaz wasn't there yet, but Carl Peraza, and John Calloway, they used to all sit in with us. And John Calloway and has worked alongside John Santos a lot. Over, I mean, they're like cohorts in crime in terms of, and I worked with those guys a lot when I was in Berkeley too. So in that period of time, 73, 77, I kind of got acquainted with this San Francisco scene. Besides, we were working around Berkeley, and we had some San Francisco gigs, but when you're that young, it's just things come and go really fast, and so.
How old are you at this point?
I'm gonna
roughly.
Me?
No. How old at this point in the story are you?
I was 22.
Okay. I'm just trying to get like a
23 and 74.
All right, I'm like comparing. I'm just trying to get a gauge of, I don't know, just the story. I mean,
I was 21, almost 22.
I'm a sucker for stories, so I'm in. Yeah, I'm
right.
hooked. I'm already hooked.
Yeah. But anyway, so in that period of time, I was working with those guys around and Pete Escovedo, and then I got the gig with Sylvester, who was a disco singer.
Oh.
He had a couple of really big hits
in
the late 70s. I worked with him from about 78 to like through 79. And 79, like the Sylvester gig ended, I decided to move to New York.
Okay.
And the reason was Roger moved to New York.
Right.
And he had become really, in fact, the first day I came there in 78 when I was with Sylvester, he just gotten out of the studio with the Rolling Stones. He played Cuica on a Rolling Stones track.
No way.
Yes. That's the kind of stuff that happened. And then he got the gig. He was like a real, really like gregarious. He was just really well adjusted socially.
Okay.
He could really like make friends and really like function in a group of people.
So
really.
like in a social setting, he would kind of be able to blend in well. And
and even like hold his own.
Yeah, I get you.
And even like be influential after not a short time.
Right.
That's the kind of guy he was.
Okay.
And so he was working at Professional Percussion Center, which is this drum shop that everybody went to. And he was the guy that was he was like a salesperson there, but he also like hooked up all their the endorsements. He'd be the go-between, I think.
I see.
And so anyway, he got the gig with Dave Valentine.
Oh wow!
Back then, and when Dave had his record deal with GRP, and then when I moved to New York, I started going to those gigs with him, my friend.
Yeah.
And then I met Dave Valentine, and it just so happened that Dave Valentine was dating this woman who was Jimmy Bosch's sister. Jimmy Bosch,
yeah.
Right? And so I met Jimmy Bosch's sister before I met him, right?
Okay.
And so, and these two different occasions were like, I was playing with Libre by then, and no, I wasn't playing with Libre. I just moved to New York, so I was playing with bands in like Jackson Heights, Queens. Taking the 7 train.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like doing 2 nights a week at cumbias and stuff, and anyway, so I went to another gig with to the Village Gate where Libre was playing, and Dave Valentine was playing with Libre, and I went backstage and Evelyn Bosch was in the backstage,
wow.
with Libre. So I go up to her, I'm like, so I hung out with them,
right,
and we were making friends. And Roger he was already boys with everybody.
Okay.
So everybody was like, yeah, you're a friend of Roger, you're a friend of mine,
right, yeah.
type of thing. And I didn't even tell, and I met Jimmy, and I talked to him, but I didn't tell him I played trombone, And so next time, but the next time I saw him, I told him I played trombone. He goes, man, you know what? We're looking for a trombone player in Libre. And I said, what? Yeah, I didn't say that. I said, oh yeah? He goes, man, you should call Andy. And he gave me his number.
Uh-huh.
And so I tried to call Andy, and I couldn't get through to him. I was really getting vexed, that I said, he wasn't answering the phone.
Couldn't get a hold of him, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I finally did, and he invited me back down to his house, and it's the infamous house on Gildersleeve Avenue in I forget what the name of the neighborhood of the Bronx is. So you take the 6th train out there,
okay,
and it's pretty far, but it was, it's a nice neighborhood, And so he had me come down to this house, right? And he says, "Bring your horn." And so I didn't know what to expect, and I went there and
wait, before you say this, can you explain to some people who don't know who these people are, who Libre is, or who Dave Valentine, like explain who they are a little bit for musicians that might not know, or just people that are listening.
Dave Valentine, actually, he just died recently. It's really sad. He was a great flute player, and he was a great soloist and a great, I don't know if he came up doing charanga flute, but he knew how to play charanga flute really well, and he had his own, because he was a percussionist. First, he had a really good sense of rhythmic, approach to playing, and he was really adept at it. And he had a different sounds. He did like groans into like ooh, and playing like his own version of that, like Jethro Tull, that sound of actually in Jethro Tull it's harmonica and flute and harmonica, isn't it? Oh, anyway, whatever it is.
Okay.
So anyway, Andy Gonzalez is the great bass player. Dave Valentine was a great flute player, and he played with Libre, and he had his own record deal. Andy Gonzalez was the younger of the two Gonzalez brothers. Andy was the bass player, and great bass player, great historian, great record producer, great session bass player.
Right.
He played on so many records.
He's kind of like the Ron Carter in a sense of like the Afro-Cuban world in a sense. No?
Yeah, in a way. But he was
Somewhat.
He played the baby bass for everything.
Right. I'm just saying in terms of like who he is. I know. I guess.
And by the way, the baby bass is an instrument preferred by bass players playing like a sort of salsa, or I don't think Brazilian music doesn't use baby bass.
In Brazilian I've never really seen.
No, but it has a more percussive.
It's more thuddy and thumpy.
Yeah, it's more. Yeah, and it's more percussive.
Right. Yeah.
And so that's what he played. So it's kind of cumbersome for to be the most technical soloist on that instrument, I think.
Yeah, I would agree, especially on just on stand up in general. But
but soloing wasn't Andy's forte. Although he was a great soloist, But Jerry was his brother. Jerry was my favorite conga player. He was just the most fiery yet controlled yet swinging yet just going for just like cold-blooded playing,
for sure.
Just swinging hard. And Jerry willed himself into being a great trumpet player.
Right, because
he kind of sucked way back in the beginning when I first knew him, but he never gave up.
Yeah,
he always wanted to play his horn.
And trumpet's so hard. I don't know how you guys play brass. The brass is just I don't get it.
Trumpet. But anyway, those two were really special, and they teamed up with this older musician named Manny Oquendo, and he was a great timbalero, and he sort of standardized like the style in salsa duro in a lot of ways on timbales, like him being the more like just sound and swing and yet minimal notes when you're soloing kind of thing,
Yeah.
And yet that was what made it swing, was how hard he hit and how just like the way it would erupt when he would do that shit. You know what I mean?
I see what you're saying.
And as opposed to Tito Puente, who was with all chops, but they're both great.
Yeah.
But Manny was, and his bongo playing, I think I saw that. I mean, that's the reason I was interested in Libre, because that was my favorite band when I was in Berkeley.
Okay.
And the first 6 months I lived there, I'm playing in the band. It's
hilarious.
Pretty serendipitous.
Right. So you go.
So I took advantage of it, bro. I played every gig, and I played till 84. Did like 3 records, and I did 2 more. But I came back to Berkeley, like I had a crazy, short, annulled marriage that I had to get away from this person. Situation in my life,
Okay,
so
wait.
I returned to Berkeley after 84.
Before you get sidetracked, All right, I already got.
Oh
you
yeah,
sidetracked.
the other
You
names?
were going to the house, so you went to go Andy's to go to Andy.
Oh yeah, I was going to Andy's house,
Yeah.
and so he was waiting for me
Okay.
in the dark, with all the lights off. He probably just smoked a joint or something, and he was just chilling.
Okay.
And he was like with this blank look in his face and like in his dark room, and he goes, "Yeah, you want to play? Get out your horn, And he goes, and he looks at me, and he goes, "That's all you need to know, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's everything. From now on, you're going to clap or play clave every music you hear that has a discernible."
That needs to become like in your
that
internal
has to
heartbeat.
be, yes. And that was 40 years ago.
Of course, yeah.
That's what. But I was doing that before. Cause
Yeah.
I was playing congas. But it's serendipitous that for some reason this group of young guys that we were in Berkeley
Yeah.
were serious and really wanted to.
Yeah, you guys.
That's why you got to see potential in our young generation. I mean, it might seem like it's a ragtag affair or whatever.
Right.
But the stuff can really come
Catch
out of
fire sometimes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just human beings are amazing.
Yeah, it's true, man.
And
Yeah.
creativity is amazing, and so I just can't wait for what's in store.
Right.
But at the same time, I gotta feel just sort of validate myself. Here I am in my 60s, and I gotta have some perspective. I'm still like, but I hear about these older musicians like Pablo Casal, the great cellist, Spanish cellist.
Uh-huh.
He was like in his 80s, and he's being interviewed, and
What do you say?
he says, and the interviewer asked him, "Pablo, why do you still practice so much? It's just like you've been playing so many years, and your performances are just, phenomenal. Why don't you just like?" And he goes, "I thought I was making progress." So it's like now I kind of got inspired today, man. I was at Bill Caballero's jam,
Okay.
and a couple of musicians were there that like Steve Dillard and my friend from Atlanta, Rick Harris, and we played, and I felt I felt really I kind of lost my train of thought, but
No, that's right. You're saying no, it's fine. You were saying you went to Bill's, and then you were playing with Steve and your friend on.
no, I
trumpet.
was thinking something that happened before that I was making a correlation between what happened.
Okay,
No, I
wait,
can't
we'll
remember the
find
connection.
it. It's all right.
Anyway, so there I was. I lived in New York, and then came back to Berkeley in '85, and I actually intended to go back to New York soon,
Okay.
but I got a girlfriend, and we were together for a couple of years, and I needed money. And sometimes I had to take. Actually, when I first got there, I worked construction. I was like, a hard hat construction worker
Okay.
for about a year, and so I have had that experience.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I appreciate success, but like after I met Kim in '88,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean before that I got together with some of the same guys I knew on that same block.
Wow.
We started this band. It was kind of like what would it be, like a punk rock band with horns, or we played funk and ska.
I was gonna say like a ska band. Yeah.
Sort of. It had some ska, and that was called the Freaky Executives. We actually got signed by Warner's,
Nice.
and we all put a whole lot of our young careers in that project,
Mm.
and it's really hard when that just fizzles out after devoting like 3 years of your
Right.
everyday time,
I see what you're saying.
because we were rehearsing so much.
Mm-hmm.
We had this shit so together. But anyway, so that happened before I moved back but I met Kim in '88, and then I got this gig playing like a theater gig. So it was called this gospel at Colonus, and I've had a really good association with this musician named Bob Telson. Some people know who he is. He's a really great songwriter. Now he sings his own songs, but he's written, movie soundtracks like on, maybe 8 or 10 in his career, and he's got this. And I did his show for like 4 months before I came to New York. And then I was on the scene in New York. It's really it's hard to explain how you get gigs. It's kind of like you try to participate in the day-to-day, like activities of the jazz community or the whatever community you're interested in.
Of course.
You find out who's playing where.
Yeah, I feel like it's the same.
And you plug yourself in and hope for the best.
Of course, yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
And
it is kind of hard to like explain it. I guess you're kind of right because
it would be so weird to, like, say you moved to New York and right when the pandemic hit. That would have been so messed up.
Wouldn't that have been weird? Like, what if you had just moved in?
Yeah.
You finally found a spot.
Yeah.
Boom.
Well, I mean, you could probably get by, but what a setback. I mean, not what a void to be in when you're trying to make a change.
Yeah, that would be rough, man.
It'd be rough on students. I was talking to Steve Diller. His kids are like 21 and 20.
Mm-hmm.
They're right in college. They're totally affected by that stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
it just makes it a whole different process and a lot hard. Well, actually, it's a lot easier. You don't have to leave your house. That's a plus.
Yeah,
that way.
I guess. Yeah, I mean, I feel like it would be harder to move. I guess what you're thinking. It would be harder to move to New York and then like going to work and play and and like do it, or any city really, and then all of a sudden COVID hits and it's like a year of not. I mean, and especially if you're going somewhere that's brand new, and you can't go out and meet people. Like exactly what you just said about like, oh, I don't, I can't really explain how I got work. I just, you go out, you do things, you're part of it.
When I first moved to New York, I played softball. and I played softball with all these heavy musicians, man.
Really?
Like Steve Kahn and Chuck Loeb and just a bunch of people that played with all these people. Robin Eubanks.
And you just happened to choose the right softball team?
Yeah. No, it was like a game that was happening, like a pickup game that everybody that felt like playing baseball or softball,
right?
Decided to do, and it was like did it in Central Park on Friday morning at 10 a.m.
Wow.
And you had a permit for it and stuff, and we played, and it was fun. I was really good ball player back then, and I've had some physical setbacks that because my eyesight changed. I like my coordination, like my depth perception is really weird. It's hard for me to catch balls and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So I'm just doing other kinds of exercise.
Nice.
Riding bikes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Nice.
Yeah, so anyway, things haven't been so serendipitous coming back to San Diego. This time, the second time I come back, the pandemic hits. Well, the first time wasn't horrible. I mean, I was able to do a master's.
It's okay.
I felt like that was worthwhile.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always been working with Mark Anthony. I skipped over 10 years.
That's all right. Dude, go but
anyway, I met
Kim
and we got married and we started a family.
Right.
So things got to another realm of family life.
Yeah, for sure. I can imagine.
But what I was saying is I plugged into the scene and I was doing pretty well, and there was quite a bit of work.
And this is in New York.
Yeah.
Right.
But it was mostly Latin. I always play Latin music.
Interesting.
I played with great bands. I played with all the great. Played with Celia Cruz, and I played with Willie Colon and Eddie Palmieri and Tito Puente.
I remember we went to the Palmieri show together.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, and I got to meet him. You're the reason I got to shake his hand.
Yeah.
Yeah. I forgot about that, actually.
Yeah, that was great. That's when I knew you were hooked, Lynn.
I mean, yeah, I had already
because you were saying, Latin music, Then all of a sudden I'm seeing you at the serious gigs.
Yeah, I mean, I had become into. I don't know.
So is that serendipity? No, that's inclination. I don't know.
Maybe it's a combination.
Maybe it's serendipitous that you're inclined at the right time. Anyway, that was a good night, man. That was a great night.
Yeah, I mean that's cool, man. Yeah, you know what? It's funny. I think, to be honest, I think that really the way I found maybe Latin music really was probably honestly because of going. Well, I guess it's kind of serendipitous also to keep the theme. I mean, might as well. Literally, one of the first people I met when I went to state was I had met Omar, and ended up, I've known that guy forever, and now I had ended up.
Who was it? Matt?
Omar.
Omar, yeah.
And I ended up we were roommates for years, and then he ended up going. I think that's basically him and Tony. It's kind of how I found Bill's jam.
Is Omar still with that woman?
Yeah, I think
Same
so.
woman?
Was Saida? Yeah.
Yeah. What's her name?
Saida. But
Say it again. Say it again.
Saida.
Saida?
Yeah, that's it. You nailed it.
Saila? Saila?
Saira.
Oh, Saida.
Yeah.
Sai or Zai? Sai.
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 Like Sai?
Sai.
Sai. We're on tape here.
That's all right. Not really, because I can edit it, so it's fine.
Anyway, so I'm just catching up with you, man, because
No, that's good.
I haven't
That's why
talked to
we're
you in a
here.
long time.
Yeah, that's why we're here. This is what.
Yeah. You've been one busy dude, Louie. You're the one that you should be doing the interview.
No, what do you mean? I am doing the interview.
Yeah, I know. But I'm just kidding. I loved your interview, by the way.
What interview?
The one in the Reader.
Oh, thanks.
That was great.
Oh, cool. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks to Robert Bush.
But anyway, I was playing with all the bands, and I happened upon, subbing for whoever was subbing. I forget. It was Wayne. What was his name? Wayne Goldman or some Goodman. Wayne Goodman.
Okay.
I subbed for Wayne Goodman on Mark's band, and they just needed a trombone player. And in '96, I just done like a few gigs, and we did this one gig where we went to Nicaragua, and somehow the money got like didn't change hands like it was supposed to, because they get a deposit, and sometimes it's kind of gangster stuff that's going on.
That's what I'm saying, man. You tell me some of these stories, and I'm just like, some of these people, like, you never really hear about people going to these countries and like playing these big shows, and it's just like, man, I don't know, man. Some of that stuff, like,
It is pretty sketchy.
wow.
You got to kind of
So like, what?
hope for the best. You know what I'm saying?
So what happened? Like, what's like? Something
Well, what happened was the promoter didn't have the money when we were supposed to have it, and Mark said, "If you don't have it, I'm not going on." And the guy didn't believe him, and he so we had to flee and speed out of there in a couple big passenger vans.
Wow.
in our luggage,
That's crazy.
and go to the American Embassy.
Wow.
We had to hang out there for about 12 hours.
There's just the whole badass Latin band just sitting there.
But at the time, I was happy because that was just a gig for me. I wasn't in the band, and they had to pay me.
Okay.
So I got my money, and
I see.
it only delayed me 12 hours.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it didn't bother me that much.
Wow.
But that's a hell of a story, And
Right.
there's been other.
We were talking about sketchy Latin countries that take your money.
Oh yeah,
sometimes.
yeah. So Nicaragua, and then so I didn't mind because I got paid for that gig.
Right.
But I guess I was so cool, and I was trying to learn Spanish and stuff. They really liked me. Plus I knew Angel Fernandez, who's a musical director, and he had a story about me having this hairdresser that my roommate turned me on to. He's a gay, really gay hairdresser in like my neighborhood. And when I knew Angel, he was playing with Barreto, and this other friend of mine, Joe De Jesus. They went to this guy Raimundo. He had this barbershop called. He was on West 70th and 6th Avenue, Raimundo's Mundo. And he had this little. He had this loft, and you go in there and wait, and he'd be in his little running shorts, little gay dude prancing around, and he'd just be, like making sexual innuendos, but he really cut hair well, So
Nice. Yeah.
so and he was a nice guy.
Cool.
But anyway, they met him through me, and back then, I had this the Tom Selleck look, I was like 30 years old, and and Raimundo really had a huge crush on me, man.
That's funny.
And Angel told me Raimundo was really sad when you moved back west, man. And so they always ribbed me about that. And
That's
another
funny.
time when I was with Sylvester, I was in L.A. at we were on Sunset. We were coming back from Europe, and we had a couple of gigs in L.A. and at the Roxy, right? And this is the big deal,
Cool, yeah.
And we were staying at the Sunset Marquee, which is the same place that John Belushi did his suicide,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
accidental death or whatever. Anyway, so we were there, and it was Christmas time, so I needed to shop really fast because I was going home in a few days, and I hadn't done it. So I was out shopping, Christmas shopping, and this guy, I hear this guy like yell at me and honk his horn, and it's in like this white convertible, a Mercedes convertible, right? And he's driving, and he's like, "Woo, baby," and he's like waving at me and shit, and then I just said, "Oh, come on, get out of here," and it was Johnny Mathis.
Oh.
It had J. Mathis on his license plate.
Wow.
So it's definitely Johnny Mathis.
Wow.
So I told those guys about that on my band, man. They always give me a hard time. Raimundo's Mundo and Johnny Mathis hit it on me, man.
That's great.
It's funny when you talk about this stuff. You think, that isn't anything, but that's funny as shit,
Yeah,
really,
yeah.
when you think about it,
Yeah.
it's pretty out.
Yeah, that's good.
But,
I like it.
And so, so I just knew Mark had something special,
Mm-hmm.
I decided to hold on to the gig. But at that time, my daughter was born in '93, so I started thinking, well, I should have something to fall back on, because I got to maybe, have a paycheck year round,
Right.
And so I went back to school, and I got a scholarship from this. You ever heard of this the saxophone player named Pete Yellen?
No.
Pete Yellen. He's actually really well known in New York.
Okay.
In fact, he's in that movie, that Summer of Soul, playing with Tito Puente.
Oh.
Anyway, he's just this friend of mine that we used to jam together like earlier in the '80s, and I ran into him on a gig. I was playing one of those they call them club date bands, wedding band.
Okay, yeah.
So, and I met him on that, and he said and I was thinking about going back to school. I was thinking about doing you can do life experience credits. You can get that at certain, like there's a place called Empire State College in New York, and I think there's a couple of them in California, but I haven't really looked into. I was looking into that, and I asked him about this, and he gave me a scholarship, so I went there for free.
Wow.
But
Gee, you did it
at
the right
Long
way.
Island University,
Nice.
and I went there for 3 years and did 110 credits in 3 years, and
That sounds like a lot. I don't remember how much.
Well, it's like 20. That averages about like 21 a semester.
Right. Yeah. No, that sounds right. Okay. Yeah.
Almost 20. Actually, 20 would be 100. Wait. No, 3 years.
I don't know, Dan. I didn't graduate
Whatever.
college, so
Anyway, you didn't. Yes, you did. You had to count those things up with
I'm just kidding.
with Homeboy. Anyway, so yeah, I did that, and Mark started. It's always been off and on with him.
Okay.
He's-
Right. Yeah. That's what it seems like.
Yeah, it's like off and on. Like, of course, we had the pandemic, so but it's no big thing to have a 3 or 4 month gap in our work.
Of course. Yeah. Yeah.
And that might be just a smattering of a few things, and maybe you'll have like 3 months solid bookings, like 40 shows a year, 50. It's supposed to be 50. He's under contract for 50, and he owes a lot of shows from if he's gonna end up having to do like 200 in the last year of his contract. He's got a 5-year contract.
Wow.
For
Who's this contract with?
he's this
Like a recording company or?
It's just a big promotion company. CMN. It's called Cardenas Marketing Network.
So they
and-
basically market and say, "Oh, he's going to do these shows, whatever," and then they have a contract that. Okay.
Yeah, they do it all. They do
Interesting.
the marketing. They do the tickets. They do you know, they set everything up. We got to have, you know, our crew has to have their shit together.
Right.
You know, they have to put together their monitor system.
And what is your crew like? I feel like it's a huge thing.
Oh, the crew's great. They're really they're really part of.
So wait, yeah, describe to me, because I guess that's so foreign to me. Like, I don't know what it means.
My best friends in the band are sometimes crew guys.
Right. Okay.
Because they're really like usually musicians, and they appreciate music, you know, and so I like to listen to music with friends, you know, and to hang out doing that. That's what I like to do the most. Because when I'm home, I don't get to listen much.
Right.
So I like to listen all the time when I'm on the road.
Interesting. Okay. I like that. That's cool. I bet you guys are showing each other stuff and finding new things.
Sometimes. I mean, not all the time, but yeah.
Okay.
You know, we're not as I mean, as the people in this town, I mean, there's a lot of really ambitious musicians that are doing a whole lot that aren't just punching the clock and, you know, getting paid. Mm-hmm. You know, really, because this is a real independent contractor type of town. You know, there's no steady gigs anywhere.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
There's no like 4 or 5 night a week union scale gigs. Yeah, fuck no.
Yeah, you're right. I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah.
It was set up differently. It was considered important, and they didn't mind, you know, the deficit spending because they just wrote it off, and it wasn't a big part of their whole, you know, conglomerate. But it evolved where the brainy people are the ones that screw everybody. You know, they get their picture on Forbes magazine. You know, here's this new technology. Oh, I'm fucking over, you know, a third of the population that's doing this job. No big deal.
So let's see here. So I'm trying to think, where were we at? I'm trying to think of, you're in New York, you're playing all these gigs, and then you get this gig with Mark Anthony. It kind of that's
well, and I had Libre all along too.
Of course, I'm sorry. Yeah, of course. Wait, so
I've been with Libre since '80.
Yeah, so we kind of glossed over that a little bit, and you playing with all these other, you kind of name dropped a little bit, and I didn't say anything.
Yeah, well, I mean, I had stints with, I mean, I've had a continuous stint with Libre for 35 years, you know, since 1980, and Andy pretty much couldn't play after like 2015. And he died like last year.
I was gonna say, is he still alive or okay?
No, he was alive until then.
He died
Like almost a year ago.
Wow.
No, wait a minute.
Really?
I can't remember exactly.
We gotta look it up.
It was like 8 or 10 months ago, maybe. No.
Okay.
I was thinking it was longer than that, but no. Yeah, and
Did I tell you Bob's little story that he told me about sitting next to Kachow?
Yeah, you told me that.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
What were you saying, actually? I remember you brought up something. I don't remember where we were. Maybe at Bill's thing. But I think I was telling you, and you had brought up something about Andy and kind of how something about him kind of playing in Kachow's shadow, but no one had really... What were you saying? Do you remember?
No.
It almost was like...
I mean, Andy was like, you know, considered on the level with, you know... I mean, they had a bass summit at the Village Gate. You know, salsa meets jazz, and it was the serious, you know, like criteria for anything being presented there. And it had the Night of the Basses, and it was Bobby Rodriguez of Tito Puente, you know, for 40 or 40 years, and Kachow and Andy Gonzalez, and you know those things that were on that you guys saw on YouTube of me playing with Libre. Mm-hmm. That was that gig. That was the Night of the Basses.
Ah, okay.
And I was on that band, and so that was in the mid or late '90s. And in Jimmy Bosch, I worked with Jimmy Bosch with Mark Anthony, with Libre, and Mark Anthony, and Spanish Harlem Orchestra. Mm-hmm. And we were like, you know, just looking at each other going, wow, are we really seeing this? Is this really happening?
Right.
You know, and it's been like that, and I'm very grateful, and I'm very I just feel so privileged, and I'm so humbled.
Yeah, I mean, you got to witness like a part of like American history in a sense, well, world history really, I guess. But like, I feel like you got to play with these artists. Some of these artists are like, I mean, they go down and you know what I mean, like what was it like with Willie Colon? Like what? That's crazy.
Oh, we had one of those getaways with Willie Colon too, and Willie was really colorful, man. He would fight anybody that pissed him off, and it didn't matter when. Didn't matter what. It wouldn't matter at all. And one time we were playing opposite Los Van Van.
Oh, cool.
And
that's a good band.
And Changuito was right. You know, watching him play, man. And you know, it was just so badass.
I got to see him when he was here.
Yeah, but anyway, I saw that band. Oh man, they weren't reading anything, and it was just so badass, so like high powered. You know, just technical prowess, you know.
Yeah,
that you can't believe, and just swinging like a motherfucker. And then we played, and some guy said something to Willie, and he jumped off the stage and went after the guy. And they had to get him back. But there was this other time when I heard that he went after somebody that dropped their shoe and landed right by him. He was like one of those venues that had a balcony right above the stage. So he went after that guy too.
What?
But yeah, he was a thug when he was young, man. And he will admit to it too. And you know, he used to bully the guys in his band, making them come to rehearsal and shit. Wow. But he had a vision. But anyway, so Willie was
yeah, and it worked. I mean,
what was it? I'm trying to remember
the
story.
Sorry, I messed you up.
Sorry, the story.
No, that's all right. No,
Willie. What did he do? He went.
You were talking about like, we were just talking about like, just a little bit crazy stories of Willie and how he was kind of, when he was younger, he was kind of a thug, and he would.
No, but this is when he's older. Okay, I got it now.
Okay, go.
I played with him like maybe, 2012 or 13, something like that. And we were down in we went to Curacao and where else did we go? Curacao, somewhere else, or like Cali and Curacao, and we were at the Curacao Festival, and and we had to fly back. We went from Curacao. It was the only flight to Jamaica that goes back, and then go back to New York. Well, we were, we had to wait in the airport, and the group of people that were on the flight, they all kind of stayed in the same area. It was a restaurant and stuff. And so we were coming out of there. We were all kind of lining up, and I see this guy. I don't know. I might be opinionated, but sometimes there's certain guys, especially white guys, that have like cornrows that look kind of crazy, like they just got out of jail or something, Okay. So it was one of those kind of guys that was flying, and Willie bumps him in the line. I mean, not intentionally, and the guy kind of goes off on Willie, and Willie told him, shut up, you fucking punk or whatever. Yeah. And the guy said, oh yeah, let's go outside. And so Willie and him start going outside the line. I'm watching, and my Willie's back is to me. He's going right for the guy. Next thing I know, the guy's going, you fucking broke my nose, you fat fuck. And Willie got him right on the nose, man, like in a split second. Willie goes, man, I can smell the nose, man. I know where to go. That shit was out.
That's great, man. That's funny. Wow.
That's pretty funny, man.
It's just funny because I only hear these guys like on recordings, So it's just like it's funny to hear you like a story like that. It's just hilarious to me, man. That's great.
Oh man. Anyway, so Willie's a real fiery dude, man. But he's real, I wouldn't say a hypochondriac, but he doesn't mind being pretty dramatic when he's not feeling too well,
Okay.
So he'll he'll like call for an ambulance. You know, he fucking feels like dizzy or something.
I see what you're saying.
He does that kind of stuff.
He'll go, yeah, okay.
He gets a wheelchair in airports and stuff.
Right.
But you know, he's.
Okay, I get you.
You know what? He got in a real bad accident.
Oh, really?
In fact, I'm not sure if he's actually going to recover enough to be able to perform anymore. I saw, and there was an interview like in Spanish. So I didn't really understand it. That they showed him, you know, telling the story about what happened when he got in this wreck in this RV he had, and apparently it was just kind of a freak accident, like most accidents are. You know, I could see he was doing a diagram of what happened, and I wasn't following it really. But he's in a neck brace, and he's saying he has trouble walking now, but it's only been about maybe, I don't know, 5 or 6 months.
Oh, wow.
Not that long. Yeah.
Oh, I got to look this up. That's crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah. It just happened. And so he's dealing with that, but, you know, he sounds good. When he's talking, he sounds like himself. He doesn't sound frail.
Huh.
You can hear the depth of his, you know, his voice. I'm just not sure how he can exert himself now.
Wow.
Because he would just, you know, he's kind of a freak trombone player. Many like old school, huh?
Like in what ways? Like, what do you mean?
Well, he plays kind of harshly, but he plays really. He's influenced how trombones played in his music.
Of course, I mean, especially in that style, it's like, you know, that's classic.
And people want to deny and say, you know, Barry Rogers was the cat. You know, Barry Rogers was originated as much as Willie. Mm-hmm. You know, as far as I think it's a combination of both. How, you know, how I play, how Jimmy Bosch plays, how Papo Vasquez plays, how, you know, trombone players in Miami and
I'm sure there's throughout
the world.
Yeah, I'm sure there's different styles everywhere you go, you know.
Yeah. But I mean, it's the typical style is kind of, it's something you have to sort of embrace.
It is defined. Yeah, you do have to kind of.
You have to embrace it.
You
have to like really study how to, you know,
play like that.
And just it kicks in after, you know, not that long.
Yeah, I see what you mean. No, you're right.
I mean, it helps to be well versed in what you've done already.
Right.
You know, to be like, you know, like technically sound, and to be you know, like, I mean, my sight reading is probably really suffering. I suffered now because I haven't done it much.
Right.
And I have trouble like focusing when I'm going from page to page. You know, like it takes me about, you know, like a second.
It's a split second.
To just like I have to blink. I have to blink a few times and then it'll come clear. But by then, 2 or 3 beats have gone by.
Of course, yeah. But see, that's what's cool about like when we're playing and like say we're doing, you know, if we're playing an Afro-Cuban gig, it's like that's what's great about when you're playing is like you play in that style, and it's like it's kind of what you're saying. You just kind of have to know how to play like that. Like it's a stylistic thing.
Yeah, well, you have to. It's something that takes a lot of reps.
Right.
Everything's about how much you,
of course,
play things and how much you practice them.
Right.
And I'm just realizing I got to practice a lot more now to satisfy myself, because I'm just not. I got to work harder now that I'm a little older. Because you just want to, you know, it's like a basketball team that has to learn how to close out, you know, a game when, you know, you got a good chance, but you really got to pour it on now, you know. Keep the edge till the end, you know.
Right.
So you can just be, you know, and for me that's just feeling comfortable, you know, like I haven't felt comfortable in a while, and I'm just trying to get to that. And I got inspired today. That's what I was trying to talk about.
That's what it was. We're back. We found it.
Yeah, that's it.
Keep going. Go. Don't lose it.
I was Steve Dillard was just he's practicing all the time now, and he really sounds good.
Cool.
And he's an older guy.
Yeah.
That's why I like older guys.
The trumpet player, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know you.
He's been practicing. He's been like really shedding, and you know, I mean, he's learning jazz now, not just classical, not just, you know, like real stiff and kind of high energy kind of playing he used to do. He's getting like more fluid and putting some new really good stuff in his playing.
Nice.
And that's because he's practicing more.
Yeah.
And that's
you're becoming more fluent in it. Yeah.
Yeah. So everybody says, "Oh, why do you worry about it?" Yeah, well, that's just what I do,
Well, I thought
That's
I was
what we all
making
do.
progress.
Yeah, right.
That's funny. I like that one.
It's classic, man. I walked on stage one time. I just went to. I lived like, let's see, 33. I lived like less than a half mile from Madison Square Garden. And I can walk.
Oh, wow.
I can walk to work.
Yeah.
When we played there. And
That's trippy.
yeah.
Just walking to like a big ass gig like that, just going to work.
Yeah. I used to ride my bike to rehearsals all over the place.
Wow.
The recording sessions.
That's cool.
You walk a lot in New York.
Of course, no, yeah. No.
And did you feel that in the back your Achilles tendon like sore from all the walking you did when you were in New York?
You know what? That's one thing I actually really liked about New York is like you really did. Well, that's one thing I liked and I didn't like. I liked that like when you're there you do walk around everywhere, and you mob around all over the place. But and then when I got home, I was like that was when I got in my car and like because your car is kind of like your office in a sense. It's like especially if you have if you have 3 gigs in one day, you're like I mean. If you got to drive from here to where, whatever. I'm just saying.
Right.
It's like you're in your car, it's just you, and it's like, and in New York, it's like if you're kind of vulnerable because you're not in your car, so it's like you're just out in the open. You know what I mean? So you're mobbing around. It's like, well, what if someone comes up to you and like, at least in your car, you can just like go, whatever. But like, so it was kind of like a pro and a con. It was like, oh, this is cool. You can walk around and do all these things, and you're not just sitting in your car.
Mm-hmm.
But then on the other hand, it was like, well. I kind of like my car and just drive around. You got all your gear. You don't have to carry it. You know what I mean? It's like for me, it's like I gotta carry an amp and like I was just like, man, I don't know how drummers do it. I mean, most of the time, I guess.
Now I'm carrying congas. I finally got bags for my congas.
Oh, nice.
And they're heavy, man.
Oh yeah, this thing.
Man,
Yeah.
it's like something to move. I'm going, why am I doing this? Anyway, folks, I've been playing congas. Dan Reagan playing congas. Of course, the guys in the band make fun of me. What you doing, white guy up there? No, they're not like that. But anyway, it's a challenge. I'm gonna start practicing every day on congas, and I'm gonna start practicing like, a lot more. Tomorrow's the first day of the rest of my life. That's a procrastinator for you.
Hey, so did those guys ever? Like, did they ever wonder, how's this white boy playing all this Latin music, Afro-Cuban stuff?
Well, I get that question a lot, actually. But, it's just like when they hear me play, they shut up.
That's cool.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, and the way, I guess I've learned to carry myself and just be, and know that I belong.
Right. Yeah, that's what's cool about music. Well, it sounds great, yeah. Cool. This guy knows what he's doing. Yeah, it's cool.
Well, yeah. So that's right. But you keep have to create things to challenge yourself. And that's what I want to do. Starting tomorrow. Get up early, go to bed earlier. Sure. Anyway, but I'm gonna try.
That's all you can do.
And so anyway, so I knew I went up to. I was playing that night at Madison Square Garden.
Okay.
I was backing up all these singers at Madison Square Garden, probably 6 singers. So I was up there for 3 hours,
wow.
But I was in the elevator, and Marcus in the elevator. I'd been in the band for a while. This was like '98, and
but you never really one on
was
one.
it '98? No, it was '95. It's '95, but I had played with him before.
Uh-huh.
And that thing in Nicaragua happened like in '94.
Okay.
Almost way back, but So he was there, but he wasn't on the gig. He just showed up. And we'd been off. He was doing, he did different things. He would do a movie. One time I came home from wherever I was, and I lived on 45th Street between 8th and 9th, like in the theater district. That my wife and I owned an apartment there for 15 years. And anyway, there's a trailer, and I see Mark's assistants walking down the street, like, "Hey, Rebecca, what's going on?" So it turns out Mark was filming. He was in a movie, and they were filming on 8th Avenue, right around the corner from my house.
Wow,
that's really near. It's infamous spot in in that area of town, right? And so he was in this crazy outfit and shit, and I was about to move. So anyway, he was in the elevator, right? That was another instance of running into him.
Okay.
But that was right by my house where they were filming the movie. Anyway, so he was dressed up as this crazy. It was a Nicolas Cage movie. I forget the name of it. Where anyway, but I forget the name of the movie. It was right around 98. But in 94 or 95, I was at Madison Square Garden.
Okay.
And we had I was backing up those bands, and Mark was in the elevator. And when I was on stage and we were playing, they announced, so it's full, 24,000 people at Madison Square Garden.
Wow.
And so it's full, and they announced his name, and the crowd just went nuts. I mean, they just went.
Sure.
It was like, it was like the Beatles had come in or something.
Right. Yeah. I mean, he's.
It was like he was so hot then, and that was when he first came out. So I go, and not long after that, I got asked to be in the band.
Nice.
I said okay, and sure enough, he got ready all the time I was going to school, 96 to 99. I was like taking 20 units a semester, and schlepping my kid to daycare in between and working another day job and stuff. But practicing, I practiced on my lunch hour with my mute, in the corner.
Wow, dude, that's sick. That's some dedication right there.
Yeah.
That's tight.
But anyway, so I was trying so hard to cram so much into 45 minutes that I fucked up my chops, man. I was and I still have that same problem every once in a while.
Really?
My chops just go dead.
Okay, wow.
It's like overexertion
Right.
or something. It doesn't always add up to just that. I don't know what it is, but sometimes your nervous system freaks out sometimes,
Right.
But anyway, so he was off and on. He got and that's when he got discovered, when he was doing that Paul
I gotta
Paul
watch
Simon's play called Cape Man.
Okay.
It was a big Broadway production, and it was a big flop, actually. It only lasted like 3 months. But Mark was on that, and so he was involved in that for 5 months, so he didn't work. And then he was doing movies and stuff like that. And you see In the Heights?
No.
You should. Have you seen Summer of Soul? It's another thing you should see.
No. Okay. So
Summer of Soul. It's on Hulu.
I got some homework. Perfect. All right. I can do that. It's easy.
It's on Hulu. It's great.
Okay. Good. And
And,
In the
Andy
Heights.
Gonzalez is on
In the
that.
Heights is like a famous. That's like a famous play.
Well, it's a Broadway show, but
Yeah.
they filmed the Broadway production. They made it into a film.
Oh, so it's both. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's
No, I know what you're talking about though, because Okay.
Anyway, so that's the reason it was cool, and I was able to graduate in '99, and then I was still playing with Mark. It was a rough time between 9/11 and getting into the mid 2000s. It was not much work at all. It was unemployment saved my ass a lot of times.
Wow. I
Because-
didn't even think about that.
Because things would just drop off, and but somehow I got it by. I managed to keep myself, our family together with what I can make. Well, Kim works some, she works some, but she does stuff that I would be so. If she didn't do all this stuff for me, I would really be in trouble. She's not like she's my assistant or something. She's an entity in herself,
Yeah.
But anyway, I want to give credit to my wife, for putting up with me and my kids, my wife Kim, and my daughter Mary, my son Leland, and my youngest Catherine.
Oh man, I don't want to see them.
She's 16.
Only because I'm gonna feel so old.
She's gonna be 16,
Go
man.
see that.
She's driving now.
Oh my god. I know what that feels like now.
When Louis first met my daughter was 4 years old,
Oh man, that's crazy.
or 3.
Yeah, because to me, in my mind, she's like this.
Because remember when you were at the, because we saw each other a little bit, but when you were at that music school where my daughter's boyfriend's family, one of the kids, went to your school in Point Loma?
Or
an OB?
OB, yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's
And,
sort of...
what was it called? The
Yeah, that was when I was
chair,
first.
That's what it was.
That was like 2009, 10.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was playing with Spanish Harlem Orchestra until... Spanish Harlem Orchestra was another great thing that I got to do between like 2003 and 2009. But it was off and on. I was steady for 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
We did 4 records, and it was a great run, man. We had the first year we had like 45 gigs.
Nice.
You know, I made a chunk of money with that band, and more than I made with Mark that year.
Wow.
Not a lot more, but a little bit more. That was a slow year for Mark.
So what was it? What was it like with? What was the?
So I've been supplemented too, you know, and I'll get, you know, like I did a movie a long time ago. This movie called
You did a movie?
Yeah, I did a couple. Actually.
What movies?
I mean, just I played a trombone player in a party or a wedding band or something.
Hilarious.
Like
what movies? Tell me. I gotta go find the scene.
that. You will see.
And I gotta see where's Dan. And I'm gonna text it to you.
I did this movie called, what was it called? It was called Julia Roberts and
I just love that you don't know what movie you're in.
no, it's just so long ago. It was 91. It was 1990.
It's so funny though.
Kim was in it. Kim was an extra.
She's in the movie too.
Dying young.
Oh my god, I gotta find this.
Dying young.
You're both in the movie?
Well, I don't know if we could actually see her. We'd have to be there to point her out. You know what I mean? It would be easy to miss.
Okay.
I'm not sure if Kim was in it or not, but I'm barely in it. And I got, you know, that was like 3 days of shooting right before I left California. So it was like very invaluable, like, you know, $4 or $5 grand or whatever I got for doing it.
Yeah.
It was, you know, that's another thing. Talk about serendipitous. I used, you know, I decided to move then. I got the money. We got to stay in Brazil like in '91 for 3 months. Like my brother was, you know, in his situation. He got married to this Brazilian woman he got divorced from, you know, after about 10 or 12 years of marriage. But we were down there for the wedding.
Oh.
And they got married, and she's from Brazil. And so we went down there, and we spent 2 weeks with my parents and my brother and Kim came down with me.
Mm-hmm.
And Kim was really young back then, man. She was like 19. And so we got to spend 3 months down there.
Mm-hmm.
And we met some great musicians. We hung out with Pat Metheny down there.
No way.
Yeah. We went to
Hey, you know,
a carnival.
I can't say it. I can't say it publicly, but someone we know is about to play with Pat Metheny.
Oh man,
it's like a little casual gig, and I thought it was hilarious, and I immediately texted
No
him,
way, really?
and I was like, "You?"
Why can't he tell?
Well, I don't know. He doesn't want. Well, it's a he. I gave it away already.
No, I'm not worried about it.
No, I'll tell you. I'll tell you after. But I just
okay.
You made me think of it because I was like, of course. I'm gonna say it. I can't say it.
Check this out, man. When we moved to New York, we lived right down the street from the hitting factory, the hit factory, in New York.
Okay.
54th Street and between 9th and 10th.
I love that you talk to me like I know where you're talking about. Because I have no idea.
50. Well, you know,
you give me exact directions.
There's a grid.
I don't know.
There's a grid in New York.
I know.
The avenues run north and south.
I know.
It's so much simpler than here.
I know, but still, it means nothing to me. But you're so precise. I love it.
No, but it's if you knew New York, you'd know exactly what I'm talking about.
Right.
And that's why.
Of course.
I guess I shouldn't assume you know.
No, dude. I love it. Don't stop it.
Check this out. We happened to live on a street where a major studio was, and so there were people around. And the only time I ever saw anybody, in fact, Michael Jackson's studio was right next to us on 10th Avenue. That studio I made all those videos in. Anyway, and his place was, and Pat Metheny was there, and I saw him, and he didn't even remember me. He was so immersed in his work, and he was so spaced out that I said, "Hey, man, you know," I was telling him I was going to move to New York, and I was being real passionate about it. He goes, "Yeah, tell it, preacher," you know, and like he was giving me shit for being so, acting so like it was such a goddamn important thing or something, But it was to me. But he was a nice enough guy. He was with this woman named Shuzi. I remember her name, Shuzi.
Shuzi.
Yeah, when we went to we went to Rio. We flew into Rio, and the wedding was going to be in Sao Paulo, and Rio's about a 2-hour drive from there. So we were in Rio, and this guy Jose Renato is a part. Have you ever heard of this group called Boca Libre? It's a Brazilian vocal band, sort of kind of like Manhattan Transfer, Brazilian Manhattan Transfer. It's a vocal band, and it's
No.
it's not as technical as some of those kind of vocal bands, but pretty badass, And so my friend Roger, who was also one of the groom's people, when Robert moved to New York, Roger became Robert's friend too.
Okay.
And Robert was a model that made a lot of money, man, for about period of 5 or 6 years between late 80s and mid 90s. Maybe 6 or 8 years, something like that. But his wife too, and so what was it? And we were down there, and I ran into this guy that was after Salsa de Berkeley broke up, the second version of the band, the bass player, we got to this new band we put together with a lot of the same guys, was this guy from Brazil, American Brazilian, American Brazilian, because he was American. He grew up in San Francisco, and he moved to Brazil and pretty much has lived there his whole adult life. But he lived for a while, and I knew him, and I ran into him in Rio, and he had an apartment that was vacant, that they hadn't decided what to do with. His father just passed away, so we got a free apartment for 3 months.
No
man.
way,
yeah.
Dude, that's sick.
Yeah, it was sick, and we got to travel around Brazil, and
Wow.
it was so great.
What was that like?
It was beautiful, man.
What did you do?
Went to the beach every day, when I was in Rio, and there were all these restaurants, these sidewalk restaurants you go and
you go.
You could
okay.
You could go get there and order 2 beers, and they give you sausage and bread and pickled vegetables and all these nice things to eat.
Yeah.
So we for cheap we'd get a light dinner, and then we go to the beach and be there from 5 o'clock until dark, which was 10 o'clock in that time. And it was right in the middle of summer, in February, March,
Wow.
And so it was so, oh man, it was so much fun. I did some playing. I played with some guys. I could have done more, but I was with Kim, and so it had to be sort of something we could both do. And she came.
You can't just be working.
My friend my friend, the same friend who got us the apartment, owned a part share of this hotel in this resort that was maybe 4-hour drive or 3 or 4 hour drive from Rio north on the coast to this place called Buzios. And there's this place that it was kind of like a little cape, and it had a bayside beach area and a surfside beach, and you could walk. It's about maybe 5 miles, and land was at just really a thin, what do you call it, inlet?
Yeah, I guess.
Point Loma.
Yeah,
something like that. But it was more. It was bigger than Point Loma.
Okay.
You know what I mean? The point where you'd have surf on one side and a bay.
Oh, I see.
You no surf.
Yeah.
So
we were there. Silver Strand or something.
It was beautiful. Yeah, it was. It is just pristine.
Wow.
And we just had it was really cheap. I had $1,500 with me, and I was gonna and I made $1,500 last for 3 months, and then I had $1,500 to move back to New York, and so I got an apartment just one. The day before, it would have been a drag if I didn't need an apartment. I stayed with my brother for about a month, you know. I got an apartment. It was
Wow.
because I knew this guy Daniel Ponce, this Kong player, that was friends with this guy that was a super at an apartment where I went to look for an apartment, and I didn't have to go through any of the, you know, the bullshit. I just got the apartment straight away, man.
Hell
And I
yeah.
had the money.
Perfect.
And it was really small. We had a kitchen that was so small, like I'd sit on the toilet, my legs would be against the door, right? And the sink was right here. The sink was like, so the wall was like right here in the door, and then the shower was right there, and it was kind of short. I was going.
I mean, and you're a tall dude.
Yeah, it was really cramped.
But still, like for me,
they made what should have been, you know, one apartment into like 4. You know, it was really ridiculous.
I see.
One of those railroad apartments, those real long ones, where one side has the whole, you know, it's maybe 2,000 square feet.
Yeah,
they got it divided into like 4 250 square feet cubicles. You know, it's barely enough for a kitchen and mine was like maybe a 10 by 10 kitchen and like a you know, 10 by 8 living room. I could just barely get a couch in there, and then the bedroom was just as small. So I built a loft bed, and I had all our clothes underneath. You know, and there weren't any closets at all. No closets. So I built a loft bed, and it was cool.
Wow.
But anyway, so we lived there and we bought that apartment on 45th Street. That was a major coup. We got this co-op for $25,000 in '98.
Wow. Which is probably unheard of nowadays, huh?
Oh shit, yeah.
Wait, so you guys bought it? You guys bought an apartment?
We bought it. Yeah, we bought the co-op.
Wow.
And you had to do a like maintenance fee of like $700 a month. So we had like a $300 a month mortgage.
Huh.
And
$300 a month.
And a maintenance fee of $700. So we lived there. It only cost us like $200 more than we were renting, and we didn't have to put any money down.
Wow.
That was amazing. So that's when I started chanting also. So shit like that happens. Chanting is like a really unbelievable.
Like, what do you mean? We talk about that because no one's gonna know what we're talking
Well, I
about.
practice Nichiren Buddhism.
Right. I mean, I know that.
And it's a sect. It's a sect of Buddhism that is more of like a humanistic organization.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like promoting, you know, world peace, culture, and education. And we have an education system, which is starting to. It's actually originally a Japanese organization called Soka Gakkai. Was it originally
So is Buddhism Japanese?
No.
What
No,
is-
it's actually India.
It's
India. It's from Nepal. Shakyamuni was from
Oh wait,
Nepal.
no, yeah, you're right.
India.
Never mind. I'm
And
getting
it spread to
confused.
India, and it spread to China and to Japan.
Right. Okay. Okay. Sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
Keep going.
But anyway, this is a Japanese organization, and so it's became, you know, it's just like a really accessible practice for anybody, ordinary people, to really improve their lives and improve, like, the quality of you know, the quality and the just actually the goal is happiness, you know, and knowing that all, you know, all things negative are part of the whole of the whole, you know, and then it breaks it down into 10 worlds, starting from hell, going all the way up to Buddhahood.
Mm-hmm.
And as you practice, as you evolve as a human being, from a moment to moment thing, you evolve.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can be sad, you can be happy as hell, you can be pissed off. You know, it's all part of the whole grid. They call it the 3,000 realms, which is in a single moment, 3,000 realms. So there's it's just it's like a metaphor for ultimate possibilities, and then and Nam-myoho Renge Kyo means devotion to the mystic law of cause and effect, which actually sums up all phenomena in the whole universe, or what we think of as all phenomena,
things that happen. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
So it's just like it's
Well,
chanting Nam-myoho Renge Kyo,
abstract,
but it's very concrete if you practice it, because if you try to chant it, you'll find out what I'm talking about, and I guarantee it. If you spend any time, you'll see how powerful it is. And it's not everybody's got their own vehicle to come to terms with that kind of aspect of your life. There is a spiritual aspect that people should address and figure out a way to to just perceive. They call it to perceive the nature of your own life. And perceive the nature of your own environment and how changing yourself can affect your environment. And it's not just like being self-critical, it's just being reflective and compassionate toward others. So it's all these like really obvious stuff, and that's why I think it's so accessible. And it's like as soon as I first chanted when I was in New York in the beginning, like in '81, and this drummer named Mike Clark, Mike Clark of Herbie Hancock, and
I know who Mike Clark is.
He was good friends with my roommate, who was also another lifelong friend of mine. So I've known Mike for 40 years too.
Holy.
Yeah, but
That's
anyway.
Crazy, dude. Wow. I think he told me that before. I just forgot.
Yeah, Mike's told me stories that he got shakabuku. That's when you turn somebody on to Buddhism. It's called shakabuku. It's like the most compassionate act you can do towards somebody. Shakabuku.
That's such a good name for that.
That's a trippy name.
Shakabuku?
Shakabuku. Anyway, He got shakabuku by Herbie Hancock when he was first in the band. Did you see that?
You turned it into a verb. Shakabuku'd.
Yeah, it is. When you shakabuku somebody. And shakabuku
Dude, that's
is like
such a cool word.
Yeah, it is. Huh?
Shakabuku? I got shakabuku'd by Herbie Hancock.
Mike did. And dig this, man. They hadn't chanted really much, and Herbie says, go in the bathroom and chant. And they were in the studio, him and Paul Jackson. And they went and they chanted in the bathroom. There were echoes and shit. They got into this big trance and they chanted. They went out and they came up with actual proof right there.
Dude, you're tripping me out because I was literally going to say we were...
Dude, that's what happened.
Wow. That's crazy. Wait, tell me again. Say it again.
Yeah, well,
so they're in the bathroom.
Paul Jackson and Mike Clark got turned on to Buddhism, and they were dabbling with it. They were living together and stuff at that time. And so they were real close friends. And so Paul Jackson got discovered by Herbie's manager at Lake Tahoe when he was playing with some, like rock and roll, like rock and roll parade kind of band or something. Yeah, I forget what it was. I'll think of it.
Okay.
But it was some popular band. And Paul got the gig with Herbie. He was looking for musicians in the Bay Area because he third to the, Tower Power, and there was a lot of really happening funk, Sly and the Family Stone, all that stuff. The Pointer Sisters, a lot of gospel, really some of the best gospel choirs in the country, and so he was really conscious of that, and he hired Paul, and then he hired Mike. But this was Mike and him had chanted. Herbie told them to go chant and see what happens.
And so they're in the bathroom.
They're in the bathroom for 15 minutes. They go in and they hit on this idea for actual proof, and then they recorded it right then and there.
Dude, that's so cool.
I know, isn't it?
I've been playing that song a bunch with.
Yeah, I remember that.
Well, we played it a bunch again with Juicebox for the Del Mar Fair thing, and so I kind of nerded out on it again. And I think it's still hard, but I understand it more than I ever have.
Oh, good.
And a lot of the chords.
That makes one of us.
Man, a lot of the chords, I got to revisit it again because now I'm going to be doubtful because we were playing it and I feel like some of the chords, that's the thing is a lot of people don't agree on the chords and it's like if you listen to it, it's just Herbie going nuts. It's amazing. I mean, he's playing, it's just like so, you can tell they're in a trance, man.
Yeah.
Or something. It's not like it's perfect, like everyone's playing the exact same. It's like it's definitely like it's like kind of rubbery and like it morphs.
Man, right in that period of time.
So good though. Herbie's going off on it.
Yeah. That same period of time on PBS, the PBS station in San Francisco. It's called I forget what it's called, KSAN or something like that, KFS. But they had this concert. It was an hour of music, 30 minutes of the Herbie Hancock and what they call it, the Headhunters.
The Headhunters, sorry.
Yeah. And Chick Corea and Return to Forever. They had that, and they each did like 4 lengthy songs, and was like, it gives me chills to think about that.
That's cool.
That was so heavy at that time.
Wow.
And we all watched, every musician I knew watched that.
Yeah, so wait a second. What was that like to see something like that at that time? Because I feel like for us now, we hear it and it's like, oh, yeah, it's Return to Forever. Yeah, of course.
Well, something like that wasn't always available. Just like, like now sports is ridiculously available 24/7. We used to have 3 phone. We used to have 3 channels and only usually just 2 of them. ABC didn't have all that much. CBS and NBC had a lot of sports, but they'd only have 1 game a week, and it was random. And compared to what they have now,
I mean, yeah,
but it was the same thing with
it
was the same thing with
you can get
everything else. It was such a different time in terms of, I look at like footage back then, and things were just so, it almost looked like they were young and innocent or something. It's like so out. I mean, I know I was, but just the way the world is just seemed, but back then everybody said life is crazy and
they said the same thing.
Everything's getting all fucked up and racial strife and
they said the same thing we're all saying now.
It's all kind of
the same thing.
It's sort of the same. It's sort of a version of the same thing.
Yeah.
But so that shouldn't be so, like.
Hey, does it seem
dwelled upon?
Does it seem kind of like exponential from like where like kind of maybe you're talking about?
Well, it is.
It does. So it does.
It definitely is.
Okay.
I mean, just think about technical advances. Just think about.
I don't know. Yeah, I just was wondering.
Medicine. Just think about. It's just so many countless things. Imagine if you were Rip Van Winkle and you came back after, like from 1976.
But wouldn't it be like that? I feel like we're on the beginning. See, that's the thing is I feel like you could say that about like, I don't know, go to the generation before,
Oh, yeah.
Like it would kind of be the same in a sense. But to a certain extent.
When I was a kid growing up, it was only like 15 years since the end of the Civil War. I mean, the World War II.
Right.
I really dated myself that time.
The Civil War. This guy's a phenomenon.
Yeah, man.
How are you still here? Yeah,
I'm 180 years old. No, I'm 160 years old.
I feel like, but if you go far back enough, I feel like it's not exponential to a certain extent. Because that's the thing is that if you're thinking exponential,
yeah, it's like a different, it's like
it's just interesting.
Same old shit, different year.
Right.
I mean, I wouldn't say that, but it's a whole conglomeration of different stuff. But it's just kind of the set of things that we're dealing with now, as opposed to what we were dealing with back then.
See, I get interested when I think about like where we are in human history and evolution and like I don't know. I find it interesting. It's like where we're going and what could happen and where we're coming from, and maybe it's exponential, and maybe this is not the first time we've done this, like exponential. I don't know. It's just like it's interesting. All that stuff. It's just crazy. No one really knows.
Yeah, like, of course not. We're not to know. That's the thing. So we have to have courage and just continue to like try to do our best.
Yeah. No. I would agree with that. Mm-hmm. That's a good
You know, and that's not so daunting because
No,
you
that's
always
not.
do your best.
Right.
You just got to keep doing it.
Yeah. I mean, you know what I say? I always do surf analogies or metaphors or whatever the word is. I always say you just got to keep paddling. Just don't stop paddling.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you got to do when you're surfing. Just don't stop paddling. Just go that way.
Yes, Shark Week's on now, man.
Oh, no. I know. I can't watch Shark Week.
Oh, man.
That's
They had
bad
Mike
omen.
Tyson on there, man. It was so funny.
What?
They had Mike Tyson on Shark Week. And he went down, he was down with the sharks, and he was in a suit and everything. And he did really well. It was really a trip. You know, I like Mike Tyson.
Man, you know what's crazy is
I really admire him. He's a hell of a character, and he's had a hell of a life.
Yeah, I mean, he's had a crazy life.
Dang.
He's went through like many ups.
He's one of the
and
most
downs
famous
and-
people in all the world.
You know what's crazy is how well that guy can. He's like a cultural, like chameleon. He can kind of go anywhere,
Yeah.
and people like everyone knows who Mike Tyson is.
He's like Shaq. You know?
Yeah,
I mean, or Michael Jordan used to be.
yeah, yeah.
Michael
I see
Jordan
what you're
sort of
saying.
petered out, you know. But
I think he's everyone knows. We know who he is, but he's more of like just like this legend that it's not as tangible as maybe he once used to be. You know.
yeah, well, he made his mark.
Oh yeah, for sure. He's always gonna. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
he'll
definitely in
always
the history.
He'll
books.
always be highly revered.
Yeah, he's definitely. In
I
the
think
history books.
Dr.
That's for
J
sure.
was pretty damn comparable to both Jordan and Kobe. You know, he was really great.
Who'd you say?
Dr. J, Julius Irving. You know about Dr. J?
No, I don't know. I'm not
don't?
a
Oh,
huge
you're not a
sports
real-
guy. Dude. I don't know. So you're
Dr.
talking.
J was
to-
like the first Jordan.
I sounded cool at first because I was like I kind of knew about basketball or whatever. and
No,
it's-
but you can say, but he didn't go in the NBA at first. He went in the ABA. He made a lot of money, and he was the best. There was another basketball league that happened for like 5 or 6 years, and
Uh-huh.
in the mid-70s, was it? Yeah. There was also another football league called the World Football League. That Donald Trump. That's where he became famous, when he was an owner of a New Jersey Generals, which was a franchise in the World Football League, or it was the USFL. It was one of the two. It's one of those two. And he was just outspoken and defiant, just like he is now, way back in the 80s. No.
Yeah, I mean I feel like he's always been that character. But anyways, well,
Anyway, so so in New York, I left New York in 2008, and I had my best year in 2007, 2006, 2000, somewhere my best years as far as gigs and income,
yeah,
because I was doing Spanish Harlem and Mark, and there was some activity that was going on, and anyway, I did this other movie called Meet the Fockers.
no way. You're
Yeah.
in Meet the Fockers.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
You told me this before. Where?
It was in L.A.
No, where in the movie?
Like I was in two places, and in fact, there's a shot of me in the in the engagement party. You know, when he was up there and he was like, he had taken that what is it? He tells the truth, the pill, or the truth pill,
Yeah.
and it was just coming on, and he was talking. He was talking in the mic, and he was saying, "Yeah, they say that mothers are. When you look at a mother, you see what your wife's going to be like in 30
Oh,
years."
right, yeah.
And he says, "Yeah, Mom, I'm a looking and I'm a liking." Anyway, I was in it right after in that sequence, they showed the band like playing. We were playing congas, and I was playing trombone, and you see us, and then at the wedding ceremony, the actual wedding. So I'm in it twice. So that was
That's
another
so
thing I
funny.
did.
I'm gonna go back. I gotta find it now. I gotta find it. I'm gonna listen to this because I'm not gonna remember, and I'm gonna look for it, and I'm gonna take a video of me laughing when I see the video, and I'm gonna send it to you.
Yeah, one time I was coming back from. I'd gotten, I was juggling on everything. I was doing this movie. This was like 2006, 7, when all this stuff was going on. And I was on the plane coming back from this movie, and Oscar had gotten the dates wrong on the, but he wouldn't admit it, right? He sent me this email saying that, I had to be back by this time. And it actually got moved up a day.
Okay.
So I was on my way back, and I get a call from him. He goes, "Where are you, man?" And I fucked up the whole. He had to get his sub that did a terrible job, man. And everybody was mad at me.
Oh man, that's great.
So
You're cracking me up, man.
yeah.
I'm glad we did this. This is what I wanted.
Anyway, so what else
great.
happened after when I moved here? That's where we met. I was going to San Diego State. I wasn't meeting anybody because I was doing so much traveling, and when I'd stay home, I was with my kids were young. My daughter was like 2.
Yeah.
My son was in 6th grade, and my daughter was in 9th.
Yeah.
So I had to schlep them to and from school. We lived in the college area first.
Okay.
We lived on University, my college and university. Anyway, so that was really convenient for getting through that master's program.
Yeah, of course, because you're right there. Yeah.
So I finally did that, and then you were at my 60th birthday party.
Yeah, I remember.
That was 2011.
Yeah.
Here we are in 2021. What does that mean? Ouch! I don't want to think about it. I still got a couple months.
Man, so that's so cool, man.
Anyway, so that pretty much sizes it up. I'm trying to be a jazz musician more than I am anything else. That's what I listen to, and that's what I try to play as much as I can.
What's like some stuff you've been listening to?
I'm
trying to think. Oh, I don't even know. When people ask me that question, I'm always like, damn it. Because the last thing I was listening to was a bunch of church stuff. Because I
listen to Brazilian. I like to find this like really beautiful.
Like what kind of Brazilian
like
stuff?
Ivan Lins and Gal Costa and Maria. What's her last name? Maria and Caetano Velosa.
Mm-hmm.
And Ernesto Pascual.
Mm-hmm.
Gilberto Gismonti. You heard of them?
No.
He's a great piano player, but he just makes these beautiful string and just badass shit. And I really like Afro-Cuban music.
Of course.
And I like I kind of getting a feel for timba and son, like more polyrhythmic type of, but I can't play it yet. I need to learn that, and this stuff I really want to start studying more.
Mm.
But we got to do that thing we got to do our Afro-Cuban thing.
Man, I was just thinking.
Did you pause?
No. You want me to pause?
No.
Oh no.
I just thought that was what you
I was
did.
switching the cameras. No, I've been sneakily switching cameras. No, but I was thinking you're right. It's right over there. It's right behind you. The Tres is right there.
Well, look at it, and
I know
to wrap this up. I just feel really fortunate, and I'm excited. I had a rough year. I broke my leg almost a year ago, like on the 22nd of July.
Mm-hmm.
So here's a scar from it. You can't really see it. It healed really well, man.
Nice.
You can barely see it, man.
I
really did a good job.
Yeah.
But I had surgery, and it was out of a cast the whole time. I didn't have a cast. So I just look at this swollen, fucked up looking leg that took like 3 months to finally get almost right.
That's crazy.
It was rough.
Out of a cast, painful. You just sat there and healed?
Yeah.
Wow, that's wild.
Well, all you had to do was just keep it prone and support it and just put weight on it gracefully after maybe 6 weeks.
Woo!
Yeah, it was tough.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But I rehabbed it, and so I'm saying, I've been saying, yeah, I'm back. I'm a little shaky a little bit still because I had a hip replacement right after that.
Right.
In March of this year. that was actually pretty long after that, because July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March. That's 8 months.
Mm.
And then since, March, at the end of March too. So it's only been, it was 3 months. It's almost 4 months since I had the hip replacement. So I really go through a lot of, I'm going through endurance problems as far as standing or sitting for a long time. And when I stand up, I got to do mega stretching and like strengthening exercises in my legs and my core and my upper body. The reason I got the back surgery, my neck surgery, and that was in 2015. Look at me,
you're fucking Iron Man.
I'm
over here.
Iron Man. I'm like the what do you call it? The $6 million man, but what is that? Mega Man or whatever. Anyway, I got this hardware in my neck. My neck was like needed. Actually, it wasn't my neck. It was my spine through there had been blocked from an injury for decades.
Wow.
And so I lost strength in my upper body slowly, and I didn't know it because I just always thought, well, I play trombone. I mean, moving my arms all the time. That's why I feel kind of weak sometimes. I thought that. But as it turned out, that's why I got the surgery. So it wouldn't get any worse. If I'd have I'd be one of those hunched over guys if I hadn't gotten my neck surgery.
Wow. Wow, man, I feel like I gotta fix my posture now.
Yeah, so anyway, I gotta strengthen.
I gotta sit.
Anyway, so that's my, tomorrow's the first day of the rest of my life. And 6 weeks from now, 6 weeks from Monday, I go on the road.
Where are you going?
I'm going to San Antonio.
Woo-wee!
Yeah, I'm going there, and we're going to rehearse there for a couple of days. And
is this when
our first show's there on the 27th.
Mark Anthony?
Yeah.
Nice.
We're going on Tuesday, 24th, August.
Hell yeah.
I'm really ready. It's going to be interesting to see how big the crowds are and what it's like, man, after all this time.
I think people are going to be going nuts.
I mean, you see basketball games, the crowds seem normal now.
Yeah, I think
baseball games.
I think people are going to love it.
Yeah.
They're going to love it.
They're going to appreciate it more.
Oh, they're going to love it.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah. It's going to blow their mind.
Right. It's going to be everybody doesn't know what they miss, and they're going to go, wow.
especially that show, like what you guys are going to be doing. Mm-hmm. Even if it's just you guys showing up and like dusting off, hey, what are we playing? I mean, even that to them is going to be, it's going to, like, they're not going to know, bro. They're going to have no idea. It's
2 days of rehearsals.
You guys are going to rehearse.
Like,
yeah, you're going to be killing it.
We're going to be, I mean, that's all we needed.
Great.
It was really hard to not have any rehearsal and just go in there and just rehearse. We rehearsed for a day. We did a gig where we got, I think, 1 day of rehearsal.
Wait, so
we had new music to do.
What is it like when you go to a rehearsal like that? He's not there, is he?
No.
Okay.
Well, he was the last time because it was kind of intense. We were doing he was paying for a whole, like what you do, only on an elaborate scale.
What I do? What do you mean?
What do you mean? Like ElectricLOuieLand. I mean,
where he's like videoing everything.
It was video. It was
I see. Okay.
It was a video like
he's doing a video audio and like,
that he put for a price, and he had sold the tickets, but the thing completely technologically fucked up. So he had to.
Oh really?
This
like
is March
it crashed?
5th. Yeah, it crashed.
Wait,
so he
real?
had to put it.
It didn't work.
Didn't work.
And you know how good that makes me feel? Because that means wait, real quick, sorry. That means that like for all the times that where my shit just like crashed on me and I felt like such an amateur, it's just like it didn't feel
anyway, so what he did was,
you know what it was is that what I'm saying,
what he did was he put it on his YouTube channel for 2 days for free.
A jazz symphonic funk with off-tone melodies and open-tone vibrations. It's life. Couple back.
All right, if you liked the video, please go ahead and subscribe and hit the like button. A lot of my viewers are not subscribed to the channel, so I always get people asking me what's the best way to support ElectricLOuieLand. And to be honest, the best way is to go and subscribe to the YouTube channel. So do that and share a video and tell your friends. So thank you guys for watching.